Hello, King Abdullah here. Welcome back to Time Motivation. I've just completed my multi engine rating and I decided to share the preparation I did for the multi engine flight test. When I was preparing through the exams, I did go on YouTube and Google and look at resources and tips and tricks to pass the exam successfully, or rather the rating. Now, it's really not overwhelming. It's one of those that you can really get through. In fact, I was telling some of the guys that this is going to be a checkout flight. And so I will provide information on the kind of preparation I did for these exams, and I hope it helps you in your multi-engine rating. It can be done really fast and really quickly and really efficiently, but above all, really safe. So, first things first, what I did is I requested the handout that we use in my school, Canadian Flight Academy, the Piper Seminole reference handout. Now, what that gave me was basically the definitions, the speeds that I need to memorize for the exams, airspeed markings, and the systems of the aircraft. Not only that, the procedures for the exercises that will be done in the multi-engine rating flight test. Now, this was very useful because I was able to study over and over and over again. And not only that, I did go through the pilot operating handbook of the Piper Seminole and then read through some of the systems. What I found most helpful was online. I was able to come across Pretty Fly CFI. It's a YouTube channel. I think it's probably 8 years ago. And then what the guy did there was basically explain through the systems just using simple diagrams. So what I did, I used the handout here, how the systems are described, which are extract from the pilot operating handbook, and also use those diagrams to basically draw out some of the systems that are expected to be explained during the oral portion of the multi-flight test. Now, as you can see, I have a system on the electrical system, the fuel system, the gear system. In my case, I was asked a question about the gear system to basically describe how the landing gear system works, and also the prop system. So we have constant speed, full feathering prop. I was asked to explain this as well. So I've drawn the mechanism in which the prop operates, and also some important notes that might be asked during the oral portion of the exams. Now, the oral could last about an hour to, let's say, anywhere from 45 minutes to 1 hour 30 minutes, depending on how much you prepare as a student. But here you can see I have the vacuum system and some of the systems that I wasn't able to find diagrams for them. I was able to just put out the notes and read through them basically. What I did is I had, a student who was a friend of mine that I had to explain all of these to, just to cement my understanding. Now, a couple of other things I was asked in exams was VMC, factors that affect VMC, and how that lowers VMC or increase rate of climb when you have an engine failure, and critical engine failures. Now, as far as this goes, my flight test oral portion, it did begin on basically here the weight and balance. So what I did is I calculated the entire weight and balance and basically highlighted where my takeoff point and where my landing is, and we had some brief discussion on the movement of the CG and how you can use the weight shift formula to move your center of gravity. But not only that, how a change in CG will affect your performance, your range, your endurance, and that sort of stuff. As well, what I had to do is to calculate basically the departure, my aerodrome data, the departure performance, the climb cruise. Now, this is very interesting because the time I was planning all this, it was about 2 hours before I had the ground session. So I may have to interpolate some of the weather information. Now, for instance, in terms of weather, I've had to print out the GFA, which basically give me all the available information that I needed. But not only that, I had to print out the meta and also the TAFs, because if I needed to compute performance information for the future, I needed the information on the TAF, but not only that, I needed information on the GFA as well. Now, these two in conjunction, I was able to compute the performance calculation and have all the numbers. Now, some of these things you see me highlight, I got them from the flight test guide straight out, which mentioned that you will be asked question on these, right? So I highlight them for the examiner. And believe you me, we spent basically less than 3 minutes on all these, because the examiner was basically asking me a question. How did you get this number? I said, tell me the number. And he will say, okay, number 5, maximum rate of climb, both engines up. You see, I can number it number 5. So what I did is I numbered all the graphs. I can see that's number 1 and that's number 3. So I'll go to number 4 and I think I have number 5 somewhere around here, and I'll just show the examiner. As you can see here, this is how I was able to compute them. Now I use my pencil and draw all this graph out, but once I was done, I was able to color it so the examiner can just look at one instant and determine that this is how I was able to get this information. Now guys, this may not be necessary, but I just found that it was really useful in my case, because I wasn't about to spend a long time there discussing. Because look, in all reality, the more time you spend with an examiner, the more you give them chance to actually pose questions you may not have answer to. So what I did, I pre-planned everything. Now not only that, on that particular day in Oshawa, runway 12 and 30 was closed. So what I did is I was able to print out the NOTAM as well and highlight that runway 12 and 30 was only available for IFR operation. And the documents, airworthiness, performance, the examiner was able to score 4 on all these, right? Exactly. And we had some quite critical engine factors, and the examiner did ask some very good question on why, if you have 2 engines that are rotating in the same direction, which will be a critical engine and why, and what are some of the factors that affect VMC, and also based off my weight today, will VMC be higher or lower today? These are just some of the questions that the examiner asked. I could remember when he asked, well, explain the prop system, and I went about explaining the mechanism of operation, and it was like, okay, that's all fine. What I will encourage, however, is if you are asked to explain a system, basically give a brief overview of the system. Now if the examiner needed more information, of course they will say, okay, I need more information, can you explain the mechanism of operation or the principle of operation? And he mentioned that is the only time that you should delve in to the mechanism of operation. And I learned a very valuable lesson from it, because previously, I have studied this over and over. It did took a month actually. Now typically multi-engine rating takes about, I don't know, 3-4 days in some places, but I trained in 3-4 days and I was ready to write it, but the plane was down for a while, so I had to wait until the plane come back in service, and then I had the opportunity to attempt the flight test. And because of that, I've had the chance to read over the systems over and over, the mechanism of operation, read on VMC, factors that affects it, how you can increase your performance, and basically go through the drill over and over again. And because of that, when the examiner asked these questions, I was excited to provide the information, and to some extent I gave more than that was necessary. Now all I wanted to do was just to score some good grades, and of course I ended up having 4 on all of the ground items, which made me really excited. And now I'm just walking through the hangar to show you the multi-engine that I completed my flight test on. And it's really not a hard rating. You can start it and finish it within a week. I'll bet it's going to be a week that's really dedicated. Now you can see here there's the hangar of the Toronto Airways Canadian Flight Academy, and now that's the multi-engine that I used for the for my multi-rating. As you can see right now, it's undergoing maintenance, but it's really nice, the opportunity to just sit around and look at the engine up and down and just go through the cylinders and the mechanism of operation. It was really like the coolest thing and the opportunity that we have right here. So I'm just gonna go around here and walk you through everything we have here. As you may have observed, I've been speaking really fast. It was really cold outside. I remember the examiner asking me, okay, what is this? What is the point of this? At first I thought it was here for some aerodynamic reason, but then I thought it was positioned close to the lights, so maybe possibly to block the lights. He said, yep, that's it. It has nothing to do with aerodynamic forces. It's just to block the light. So when the pilot sits right there, the reflection of the light doesn't affect them. Wow, this is all apart. Yes, it was so much fun flying a different airplane. I've flown the Cessna 172s for almost 7 years without ever feeling the urge to fly anything different. But when I got on this, it just felt different. It felt really good. As you can see, this is all apart. Yep, they're doing major inspection on this. And hopefully it should be back online very soon. And we will get on with the next chapter. Anyhow, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next flight test.